Not what I meant to do. I meant to turn on the closed captions. There we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry about all the background stuff. I'm Linda Brubaker, and sometimes it takes me a little while to get going in the morning. I don't know about the rest of you. This is Career Search Lunch and Learn, and we know that this isn't necessarily the place you want to be, but we're glad that you're here. We're here to provide you with support, with resources, with networking, with a little bit of guidance along the way, and maybe even a laugh or two, even if it's just at me. And that's okay too this morning. So we're going to be doing that as well. Want to remind you that because we're recording, okay, if you would prefer not to have your camera on, we understand. But part of networking is being able to see your face and see how you react. It's another way for us to get to know you. And we like networking, we like supporting, we like sharing with people we know, like, and trust. And seeing your face and putting your face and your name together is another way that we can do that. So please keep those on. I'm a career coach, career transitions coach, and I've been doing this now for the past 8 years. Um, Coming from a background in human resources and recruiting of well over 20 years, and we talk about how much experience to talk about, I've got a lot. So it's well over 20 years of experience as human resource business partner, a hiring manager, a recruiter. I was a talent acquisition manager. I was also an outside recruiter, what we're now calling an executive search consultant. And back when I was doing it, we called ourselves headhunters, although we hated the term. But the idea is that the information that we provide you today is based on not only our own experience, and I'm going to let Ken and Sue introduce themselves in a moment, because we appreciate their support and their guidance, but also on the research that we are continually doing, keeping in touch with our colleagues, those who are recruiting, those who are hiring managers, those who are HR managers, doing all the research for you so that we can try and give you the information that's up to date. And sometimes that means that we say we just don't know, but that's going to be okay too. So the idea is that we're here to support you. Now, I do this as my give back. I know that Sue and Ken do it as well. I support some of what I do here with some private coaching, and I'm going to put that link in the chat. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ken and Sue.
Hi, everyone. Kenneth Lang here from Northern New Jersey. I recently, or I should say officially, will start next week as a career counselor at Lee Act Harrison, which is up from branding specialist. One of the differences that I'm going to be doing one-on-one coaching with individuals. A couple of suggestions. Again, I run networking groups too, and we actually had on Monday night a conversation with a bunch of coaches, and we're trying to figure out the best way to support people. One of the suggestions I made, and I actually put it in the chat, is when you save the chat today, import it into ChatGPT or some other thing like that where you can get a good summary of what's going on. There's all different formats that you can use, whether it's from an agenda standpoint or something else. Because I know when I go to these sessions, I find it hard sometimes to keep track of whatever everyone is doing. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to meet Virginia Franco in person. She was in New York City. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. We spoke about everything besides resumes. We spoke about life. We spoke about challenges. And I will tell you from her perspective, things are really bad out there. And she is coming up with some specifics that have changed. I mean, the methodology has changed a little bit, but networking is the key. You can have the best resume in the world, but if you don't network, you're losing out. And so I recommend I do a weekly newsletter. I list events, small business events. I'm happy to help anyone that needs help. I'm also working at SCORE as a volunteer, and I spent about an hour this past week with someone working on their LinkedIn profile. They had no idea about the things that are there. So I'll put in the chat later on a link if you want to have a chat with me later on. But Sue, take it away.
Thanks, Ken. I'm sorry I missed Monday night. Something came up with the contractor that's doing some work in the house late. So I hear you. It is tough out there. I will add on side I'll side load Ken's networking, because the other thing, and I don't know if it's the LinkedIn algorithm, but I'm connected with a lot of you all, and I don't see you making comments on things on LinkedIn. If I do, it's rare. I will say that there are people that I follow that regularly comment. And it's not that I'm monitoring it, but when you're connected to the networks Ken and I are, it raises you a level up of all the people you're connected to. And we have more branches into job searching areas than you all may. But also remember that that's how you, besides networking, the only other thing you control is what you put out there. And your resume is in everything, even if it's got a cover letter with all the highlights. You want to put your expertise out there. I've been amazed at the number of you that come with a lot of experience. Comment on someone's post about how industry is changing, of marketing, product management, whatever it is. Those are things you can do. So thanks, Ken, for that idea. I think it's a great idea to download the transcript the and also download the chat so that you have people's contacts. But because I believe also, not just today, but I think Linda puts the transcript in the private group that we have, so you should have access to it. But if you want to do it, you can right now enable captions, and that lets you actually get the whole summary immediately as well. Just remember to use your tools, check them. I just used them on social proof presentation I did on Monday for 3 different people, me and 2 others who I know pretty well. And there were at least 2 errors for each of us. So, by the way, Ken, you know how I knew that picture was AI? It
How?
had an unusually large, you have a very large smile, and I
Yeah.
love the glasses on you, but I don't think you would choose green glasses. They were greenish, like teal
No.
something. But, and I'm sorry for the travails on that. Last thing, yay, you all for showing up. I am the mentor with Pom Poms, if anybody's new here and hasn't seen it. Ken, Linda, and I are your best advocates right now. We're trying to help you navigate this very thorny and difficult and in many ways very, very disheartening situation, especially as we go into the holidays. So let us support you the best we can. All right. Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to a great discussion today.
Perfect. And by the way, it's a great discussion, not just in the room, but also in the chat. So here's a reminder. In addition to commenting on people's posts, and by the way, a comment isn't just, yay, that's great, in the chat. In the chat, that's fine. But in a comment on LinkedIn, tell me what's about. If you say that somebody did a great class, that's wonderful. What did you learn? Would you recommend it to others and why? Something that says you're asking a question, you're generating that engagement, you're showing your expertise as well in moving that conversation forward. That's one of the things that helps you get seen. And that whole idea of commenting on the post from other people in this group is fantastic. Okay, please make sure you're doing that. It really does broaden how many people can see what you're doing. In terms of the chat itself, please add your additional information. And when you're writing a comment, again, tell people what it is you're commenting about, because somebody who wasn't here today, or even you going back to take another look at the chat, you may not remember what your comment was all about. We also know brain hand memory kinds of issues is that when you write it down, it helps to cement it in your own brain. It helps make it real for you. And then when you go to ChatGPT and try and pull some of these nuggets out for yourself, you'll remember what they're all about. So please do that as well. Now, before we get started, Ken mentioned, or Sue mentioned the idea of holidays. I want to do a quick, okay, help me out kind of thing, if I can find it. We know that the holidays are coming up next month. And if I can find it, I put together a quick poll. Now I can't find it. I'll find it later. But I want to know, okay, anybody remembers how to find them on here? Nope. LinkedIn also moved things around for me. I'm not LinkedIn. Zoom moved some things around for me and I can't find where I put the poll. In any event, okay, I'd like to know whether or not you are interested in meeting on December 24th and whether you would join us or whether you would join us on December 25th, on December 31st. They're both the days before holidays. Some people celebrate on the 24th. So please let me know.
Linda, I actually have at the bottom of my screen in all the toolbar stuff, maybe it's under more for you. I had polls and quizzes and I clicked on it, and because I'm a co-host, I can
Perfect.
see the one you created.
Can you-
So do you
launch
Yeah,
it?
do you want
too.
me to launch it for
Yes,
you?
please, because I can't find it right now.
Okay, there we go. Do you see it? I hope everybody.
Can everybody see the poll?
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
good.
I wish there was a choice to maybe move it to a different day, but I voted no.
So that's okay. So if that's what you want, then what you can do is let me know in the chat.
Okay.
I'll pull that out and try and do something with that. Okay. Looks like more than half of you have already voted.
Slight preference towards the 31st of December. Is this
Yep.
an either or, Linda?
No, this is a both. You
A
can
both.
vote, right. So you can vote separately for either one. So if you
Perfect.
can be here on the 31st, but not on the 24th, then that's fine. If you
Great.
want to meet on the 24th and not the 31st, that's good. If you want to do both, that's fine. I don't care whether the meetings are small. Okay. I want to be here to support you. But if those are things that you want to do, then I want to be here for you. But I want to know as I'm doing my own planning. Okay. In terms of my own Thanksgiving, we're not doing it until the Saturday afterwards. So I'm not cooking yet, but it
Yeah,
looks,
we have pretty good numbers for yeses for both.
I see that. Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to end the poll? I think we're pretty
Yep. I think that's
done.
fine.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to share the results because now I can do that. Can you see the results?
Yeah, it just shows the
The end numbers.
panel, the same
Okay.
numbers. Hopefully it saves it for you.
I'm just going to push it down. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And Dominique, I love the fact that you're volunteering on those days. That's wonderful. We often do that as well. Okay. We're going to get started now. For those of you who know, okay, who've been here before, you know that we get started with some quick wins. So if you have a quick win, please raise your digital hand so that we can support you. That's great. I see at least one up there already. If you have questions as we go along, please put question in the chat, okay, all in caps so that we can find you. If there's something that's a win, a learning for you from today, please let us know that as well. We want to be able to find out who you are, what's going on in your world, and the things that you're learning from us that we can take away. All right, it started with these quick wins. Oh, by the way, if you're new, please again, new all in caps in the chat. Good morning.
Morning. So let me just start off with this. You know, when you're looking for a job, well, you should do this all the time. You never know who's calling, especially when you don't recognize the number. But I got a call yesterday from someone from a recruiting company, and I hadn't spoken to them since it was 2005. They called me and wanted to know about my availability. So we had a call and I went through my elevator pitch, and the job that they were looking at was not an perfect fit. However, I look at this as a win because now I have someone that I can reach out to and work with.
Absolutely right. That's fantastic. So perfect. Now, for many of us, I don't know about you, did you recognize the number when they called
I did not.
and you answered it anyway?
I answered the phone and they said, "Hi, we spoke in 2005." They had my cell phone number because I've had the cell phone number for, a gazillion years, and my email address. So it had to be when I first moved here, and they wanted to know about my availability. So it was a very nice conversation.
Perfect. And so for those of you who don't answer the phone if the number isn't one that's in your contact list, if somebody wants to talk to you, they'll leave a message. Just call them right back.
Right.
And that's okay too. Perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, Jeff.
Howdy. I've got 3 final interviews this week.
That's fantastic.
But it's not a done deal. I mean, and they're 3 completely different companies, and then I've got a fourth and fifth next week. I just have a lot of anxiety around a number of different things. And I know for those of you that know me, I'm like the most happy-go-lucky guy, but I'm just and I'm so ready for all of these. And if you all aren't using ChatGPT or some of your favorite AI platform for meeting prep, you are missing the boat. And in fact, sometimes they're asking me a slightly difficult question, so I'm really quietly typing on the keyboard just to make sure I nail the answer. Uh, it's been a game changer for me, and I do believe that having my notes in front of me, like hopefully you all do when you do get the interview, is definitely going to help. And I just want to do a little asterisk. You might be like, Jeff, how did you get all these interviews?
Yes, please. I
I
was going to go there.
I am not BSing you when I say not, and I'm sorry to say this, but not one came from me applying on LinkedIn. Every single one came from someone walking me into an executive or someone higher up and saying, "Hey, this is Jeff Willinger. This guy's been selling ice to Eskimos before that was even a thing. He's a beast. He's got thousands of connections. He moves, he moves the needle for an organization and game changer." And it's almost instant. Any company that's looking to grow and change the face of the organization, you need a guy like, me. I always think of myself as like the utility fielder, sort of tell me where it hurts, tell me where the gaps are, and I could do it. And it's been effective. So, in the next week and a half, 5 finals. And again, I'm looking at where, what day would they have me start? Monday, the 17th, the 24th, the Thanksgiving week, or do they just push it to December 1st? Beggars can't be choosy. So, well, I can because hopefully I get a couple of different offers. Anyway, thanks, Linda. You're amazing. Ken,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I saw we have at least one more career coach who's here. Joy, I'll let you introduce yourself in just a moment. Let's finish these first. Okay, Jason.
Hi, everybody. And Jeff, coincidentally, while you were talking maybe a little before, thanks for your connection. So talking about networking, literally just happened, Jeff. Thanks. Maybe you're multitasking. This is actually, I think, a win at the end of the day. It may sound very negative, but I wanted feedback for anybody who may have been in this situation in the past. If anybody was here last week on last week's call, I had mentioned I had just gotten a job offer, which I did. And between last week and yesterday, as I think any candidate would, I was trying to negotiate the offer. However, the process of going through the overarching kind of HR thing with the company was a very different experience. So what this was, it was a job offer, which was a 2-pager. All it had was base salary and other words, but it didn't have any other part of the offer that came in, and I was asked to sign it. After reviewing, I signed it. Then they followed that up with a 13-page employment agreement that they then asked me to sign, but that's where I wanted to negotiate. So I started the negotiation process. Without boring everybody and getting into details on negotiations, I was told last Friday that the points I brought up would be discussed internally, but that most likely they would move forward and be reflected in the agreement, and that I should have a new agreement Tuesday or Wednesday this week, so yesterday or today. Yesterday morning, I wrote the team and just said, hey, want to know what the status update is. I was told either today or tomorrow. Should I still expect the agreement today or tomorrow? And then I brought up some other questions to them in terms of the onboarding process. And everything yesterday morning in that email and their response seemed to be all great and positive. Yes, yes, and yes, and yes. Your new start date is this date. It got delayed a little bit due to negotiations. Then, literally 3 hours after I got that email response back from them yesterday morning, 3 hours later, they did a U-turn and they rescinded the offer, which was shocking. to say the least, because I had great rapport in all my interviews. They made it crystal clear that they were looking forward to me joining. Maybe I didn't, there was something I didn't see, and I was very excited to join them. So my question to everybody is, has anybody ever been in a situation where you get an offer and before you start the job, it's rescinded? They haven't clarified their reasoning. I don't know if it's some of the negotiation points I brought up. I don't know if it's, internal discussions I'm not aware of or, not privy to at this point. But it was disappointing to say the least, but it was also very much a shock because I was supposed to start Monday this week and then negotiations pushed that back. So now I'm supposed to start this upcoming Monday, and clearly now the whole thing's rescinded. So I see it as a win because I think I prospectively dodged a bullet. I think if I had gotten in and this didn't happen, and then these sort of procedures and things happened internally, that's, I think, the bullet that I may have dodged. So just a question thrown out for anybody. Has anybody been in the situation or any thoughts or feedback on it?
Actually, you're the third person that I've heard that happen to in the last 4 weeks. Doesn't make it any easier.
It happened to me once.
Yep.
Is there,
I was supposed to, what turned out happening was that the position was never approved by the company. The hiring manager created the position, but it never went through the proper smarts when it was racked out. But of course, one hand didn't know what the other hand was doing, but I don't know if that was the case with you. But that's what happened to me. It was a Friday afternoon. It's supposed to start on Monday. Surprise, surprise, I'm running errands.
yeah.
So
One that I heard about this week as well was somebody who the position had been approved initially, but between the offer and the signing and the negotiations process, the company decided that they needed to restructure again. And even though the position had originally been approved and everything else was all set and golden, the position was gone. So yeah, it is happening as companies are continuing to think about what's going on here. I'm sorry it happened, but I agree for somebody who said out here, you dodged a bullet, you dodged a bullet. Okay.
I'll just say two other things. I don't mean to take a ton of time. I spoke through the whole interview process. An individual I spoke to was the owner of the company. So if this was not approved, to your point, then why would the owner get on a call to interview a candidate? Let alone why would they put something in writing, ask them to sign it? My understanding from the HR side, just in terms of kind of human resources in business, is when you offer somebody, when a recruiter prospectively offers, you're sending one email with a single document in it, and in that document is the offer letter and the employment agreement in one. Is that standard practice?
It depends upon the size of the company and how their practice is. There are no standards for some of this.
Okay.
Okay. Is that the best practice? Probably. But could be that. In fact, some companies are doing the employment agreements to begin with. Okay, it's all considered one aspect. I did have one person, not this year, but last year, who negotiated himself out of an offer. Okay. He kept wanting more and more in that employment agreement and in that offer. And they finally said, I'm sorry, we can't do this. He too was in sales. And they said, we don't like this kind of an attitude, basically was what it boiled down to. And so they walked away, even though he had the firm offer in hand. So.
Wow.
I just want to add, Linda, Pam Lefkowitz put this in the chat, and I've been seeing it for the last month because I collect things about work trends. It is truly an employer's market right now.
Mm-hmm.
People I know that were given 2 days a week at home are now down to one. Everything's changing as companies are getting back to being very concrete, wanting you in the office. And they're very nervous about the economy. Despite the stock market in the US, all the other signals are it's not going to move well. So take everything with a grain of salt. Remind yourself that you did the best you could. And you never know that the CEO could have gotten a call that night saying, our books are worse than I thought, or the projections, health insurance premiums are going up. They're just getting information on that now for all of us. So all of those things factor into the overhead rates and how many employees they can have. And frankly, some companies don't want to end the year with companies on the bottom line, which is why you see a lot of layoffs coming now and up to December. So I'm not trying to depress people. I'm just saying be realistic. It's kind of like when it's a buyer's market versus a seller's market for housing. Right now we're in the seller's market. The employer is the one who's in the driver's seat, like they were after the early COVID Great Resignation. They started clamping. I don't know why I'm doing that, clamping down. All right. Thank you, Linda.
You're absolutely right. Okay. So it is, and unfortunately, I'm seeing that this is going to continue for a while. So I wish I could say that it was going to go away. Sorry, Jason. But keep us posted on what else is going on and how we can help.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right. Let me see. Pam, you wanted to come join us.
Hiya.
Hiya.
So let's see. Last week I had one interview that I got from a networking connection who pinged me and said, "We posted a job. You need to apply for it." So I had that interview. I'm waiting. There's a lot of waiting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of waiting. And then I got told about another job and had my resume and cover letter, walked into the CEO's desk, and he apparently thinks I'm a really good candidate. So, but that process hasn't started yet. I'm still waiting. So more waiting.
But
And
progress.
it's something. It's something. I don't get a lot of traction, so a something is a something. On the personal side, I helped find the spouse of somebody who was stolen from a work site by ICE last week. So I felt really good about that. I mean, it's pathetic, but I feel really good about that. And I lost a battle with a medicine ball today. So I don't need lip filler, so that's a good thing.
I'm going to take it as the good things that you played with the medicine ball,
Played with
right?
medicine ball. So work out, don't forget, you lift heavy things, throw heavy things, and drink your water.
And job search is another one of those heavy things, but keep going.
Yep.
Thank you. And good luck. Hello.
Hello. I wanted to say that I haven't gotten a whole lot of screenings. I've had two and they didn't go so well, but I did hear back from a company I had applied to 6 weeks. It took them to get back to me, and it was a 37 question written interview, they called it. I've never done something like that. So I took like 2 full days. It was mostly my experience. I did get some help from ChatGPT. I felt okay about it. There were some big parts of the job that I don't have experience in, and I was very honest about that. And I said that, I'm eager and excited to learn. Nonetheless, it took them 6 weeks to get back to me from the time I applied. So I thought, who knows how long, maybe this month, maybe next month. I sent them the 37 questions 2 weeks ago, and I heard back today. They are moving me to the next stage, which is an aptitude test. I've also never heard about this. It's a 45 minute exam that, I don't know, analyzes how well you reason, how well you speak, how well you think. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what the result will be. So that sounds kind of fun. So I will be doing that in the near future. But yeah, I'm hopeful. It just feels nice when you wake up and first thing you see is a yes from a company. So I just wanted to share that.
We appreciate it. Good luck. Keep us posted. Now,
Thank
the
you.
idea of adding all those extra steps along the way, we're going to see, I'm afraid, a little more of that as we keep going too. And it is one of the consequences of AI as well, that they're trying to bring in that added data to see who they really should talk with. But congratulations and good luck. Okay, Raymond.
All right,
And then
thank
we're just
you.
going to do another couple and then move on. Sorry.
Yep, I'll try to be as brief as I can because I think this is a win, and then I may ask a question. And this goes around to what Sue has shared, is what you put out there defines you, or just to that extent. I was found by a recruiter, large company, within the past week and a half, and I had to do some vetting, but eventually spoke to this individual on Thursday for about 30 minutes, had a very fine call, which I thought was really good. I want to caveat that I have been out of work for a couple of years now. There's various conditions. One, I moved to a new city, so I've had to rebuild my network, as well as I did take an extended period of time off to do some caregiving for one of my parents who was ill. Everything's great, but that's contributed. I decided to own that piece, and many months ago, I actually put that on my LinkedIn page. I have a little portion from my last job, and I'm seeking this, and I own that language. So I encourage people that are considering whether or not to put something out there or to continue to work at a company even though you don't work there. I put that out there. So on Monday, and this is where I think it's a win, I got a ping from the recruiter saying the team had a question. What have you been doing since your last opportunity? I don't have that information on my resume. My resume has an end date. The LinkedIn is more current. However, my assumption is, even though it's out there, the recruiter didn't look at it, which happens, right? And my question back to you, Linda, and team, is like, I know people are always like, what happens if they ask me, what if I'm doing my time during an interview? Be brief, bounce forward. I've never heard that asked in an actual email. So you don't have that opportunity to go back and forth. So I wrote something that I thought was fairly succinct. I actually said, for transparency, this is on my LinkedIn page, so they can validate, not as a shame on you, but a validation. Also said that I've been networking, mentioned that I moved to a new city and I'm working on some certifications, etc. So I felt like I owned that piece, as well as said I'm actively looking and very excited about this opportunity with your organization. I look forward to continuing our conversation, is how I left that. Now that's been 48 hours. I've not heard back. I hope that I'm not going to get ghosted one way or the other, but I wonder how much time would you recommend I wait to hear back?
I would, let's see, this is Wednesday. If you haven't heard by Thursday evening, okay? Because sending an email on a Friday is a tough one. If you do it first thing in the morning. But, is there any additional information I can provide?
Okay.
Okay. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Have a great weekend.
Sounds great. That's a good way. This individual is 12 and a half hours ahead in India, but is part of the corporation. So
yep.
I can still send that. It would be in their inbox. If I send it Thursday night, it would effectively
You can send it anytime on Thursday. Okay,
yes.
Give them a day or two to respond from what you've done before. But the idea of owning it is absolutely right. Talk about what you've done.
Yes.
Now, I actually include that on a resume. Okay. Privileged, the wording is, I've been privileged to be able to take the time to care for, okay? And while doing that, while looking for my next forever job, I've been doing this. Family caregiving is done. I'm excited to come back to the workforce, and here's what I've done to prep for it.
Wonderful. Yes, I effectively have that in my response and have pieces of that on my LinkedIn. So that's kind of where it sits. So again, I share that just from I haven't heard anybody through any of my coaching calls or et cetera, where that's been asked in an email versus a conversation.
Well, what that means is that they were interested enough to ask.
Yes, that's my win. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Last one right now, because we want to get onto the topic. Oh, sorry. We'll see whether we can get there. Go ahead. Quick.
Yeah, hi. I basically just wanted to point out the benefits of networking. My win is basically that I've connected with 2 possible new clients. And one, while I will be working originally with them for some pro bono work, they are looking to create a communications director position. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I just wanted to say don't stop networking, because it is through sessions just like this that you can meet people that you can connect with. So
Absolutely.
just
Here
putting it out
and
there.
here and in our private group as well. So remember to do that as well and share that information.
Exactly.
Okay, so I do want to get to the topic, so go ahead. Linda. You.
Lydia?
Lydia, I'm sorry, can't see it on my screen.
No problem. Thank you so much. I joined a little late, so I just found out about this call. So Lydia out of Chicago, corporate communications practitioner, at it a second go around from position eliminations. My question is, when you have considerable experience, obviously you don't want your number one choice at a certain level, certain compensation, but clearly I'd be willing to, in my search, go a little lower. But then you have that whole, you're overqualified. Why would you take such less? Can you, what's the best way? I would think networking your way into that to be able to articulate that personally would be great. Otherwise, you could be just removed from the pile. 20 plus years experience.
So that's part of it, but that's actually a great segue into our conversation.
Okay.
Okay, so let me add. Okay, Joey, if you'd like to contribute as well, I'd like to add you to the group if you're willing. Oops, wrong person. Sorry about that, Dominique.
Absolutely, Linda. I have a couple of opinions, but I'll keep them to myself because I see you recording this.
No. Okay, we're part of this group. That's what we want to do. So go ahead,
Well,
Ken, while I'm pulling Joey and Sue up.
Who's up now? Me?
Whoever, go ahead.
I think it's how you position yourself. A lot of people are very comfortable making less money for all different reasons. It's not, you know, you have to, it's really how you're going to portray yourself. You know, maybe you're at a different place in your life where there are other things that are more important to you. It's a work-life balance. I mean, you know, I get that a lot with people of my age. You know, they're used to making X and now they want to make Y because they don't want to deal with a lot of the stuff anymore. And of course, you know, you have to think about how you want to do it. Now, their concern is going to be if you're making, let's say, 30% less, you're going to leave for another job. So putting it on their side. So you want to try to appease them. You know, you may look for another job later on. That's not their concern, but you want to appease them. I'm here. I'm going to be engaged. I'm going to be supportive. I'm looking forward to things. And I'm sure, Joey, you can definitely speak to this and Sue the same. Yeah, Joey, you've always got something to say.
I want to let Sue go first.
I just want to expand on what Ken said. You have the opportunity to tailor it to the company. Maybe it's a smaller company where you'd get more visibility and opportunities. You can say, my goal is a company of the size that ABC company is, and my commitment is to the work as well as the opportunities, and leave it like that. That says to them, oh, maybe she'd be willing to take a lower salary, I think. But I come more from the NGO and federal government research space, so I don't, I talk to a lot of people now, like all of you, but I think it's really good to give people the idea that you have a range in mind depending on what they're offering. Because you know, you feel like it's like going to the grocery store. You have a lot of choices, but ultimately you can only choose the things you can afford. And the company has to hear something from you that says, oh, maybe we could, you know, oh, we want her. Maybe we could afford her. Because sometimes they interview trying to figure out what rock stars would bring and see if it works for them. And I know Joey's going to give you the truth. So I will cede the floor to Joey today. Hi, Joey. Nice to see you.
No pressure. Thank you, Sue. No pressure. I mean, I don't even know where to start with this conversation. Jason, your mindset is right on. Okay. Because my immediate thought when I heard what you were saying was, I just wanted to blurt something out. But then I realized that Linda was recording this. So I'm going to keep that opinion to myself. But your mindset of moving forward and it's a win. And yeah, you don't want to work for a company like that. So good for you. Lydia, and I'll tell this to anybody who listen to me. There's a great book out there called From Strength to Strength by Arthur Brooks. And I see Linda nodding her head, right? So he talks about we have two phases in our lives, our work lives, if you will. The first phase is gathering, collecting, and doing all the work. The second phase, and I'm guessing a lot of us on this call could be in that phase, if I may, is giving back, is looking back behind us at the generations that are coming up and saying, let me tell you what I've learned. Let me tell you what I know. Now, for those of you who are parents of teenagers, you know that's like talking to the wall. You know that, right? But you also know that you can't not say that. You can't not turn to the kids, you shouldn't use that word, the people behind us, the people growing up, and say to them, here's what I've learned. I know you think I'm crazy. I know you think you know more than I do, and you do know a lot more than I do. But here's what I've learned, and with my experience, let me share this with you. Whether you choose to use it or not is not my issue, right? I'm just sharing with you what I've learned. You want to take it and run with it, that's great. And so to everybody's point here, if you want to work for somebody and they're not going to pay you enough, maybe, yeah, you take a step back, but you have the attitude and the mindset of, you know what, I'm not going to make as much money as I quote unquote should make or could make or want to make, but I want to work and I want to give back. And if somebody's going to pay me, granted it's less, but to really be a teacher and a mentor, sign me up. But that's me. I can't speak for everybody. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know your situation. I don't know how many kids you have, how many husbands you have. I don't know what car loans you have. I don't know what's in your life, right? All I know in mine, I'm happy to mentor. And if I get paid less, okay, according to Arthur Brooks, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. All right? And that's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen. I hear people talk about it's an employer's market, so I'm going to act accordingly. BS. If you want a job, go get it. Who cares what the market is doing? It's irrelevant. Because here's the thing. If you listen to what the market is telling you, and it's an employer's market, so then if it's an employer's market, I'm not going to win, what are you going to do? Sit home on the couch in the fetal position, eating bonbons, waiting for the market to become a seller's market? Oh my God. It's irrelevant. Who cares what the market is doing? To Sue's point, what you can control and what you can't control, there's two different things. You can't control the market. You can't control the weather. You can't control the politicians. You certainly can't control the traffic, but you can control your mindset and how you deal with whatever's out there. If you're unemployed, go get unemployed. Go get employed. But don't worry about the market. Don't worry. Don't worry. Just go do it. Because here's the thing. If everybody follows suit and doesn't do anything, guess what? Now the world is your oyster. Because now nobody's looking, just you. Go get it. I'm done. I'm done. Sorry, Linda. Sorry, everybody. I'm just, wow. It blows my mind that I see people who are so qualified, have so much potential, who are sitting back, quote unquote, waiting for the market to change. Okay. Let me know how that works out for you.
Okay. So lots of good advice so far, but the idea is...
Sorry, Linda.
No, you're okay, Joey. That's why I invited you up on the screen.
That's my New York tough love.
I know you well enough to know that if I'm going to invite you up and ask you to comment, we take what we get, right? I know, Joey. By the way,
I'll mute myself.
I understand that, and we appreciate it. That's why you're here. So, and come join us anytime, by the way. For those of you who are recognizing that we're about at our time, if you need to leave, leave. If not, I can stay on. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm happy to stay for a while. But in the meantime, I want to remind you all to copy the chat. Okay, you can do that two ways, one of which is going up to the top of the chat with the three dots where it says Career Search Lunch and Learn. Click that and click Save. The other thing is to click anywhere in the chat, select all, and then copy. So you've got both ways of doing it, and I will put it in our private group. Okay, here's my take. When you're doing it and you want to take a second job, you want to take that step back, and sometimes you have to, or you choose to. Okay, I mean, I chose to in the last job that I took working for someone else. One of the things you say is, at this point in my career, this is what I am choosing to do. Whether it's true or not, to say that step back. But here's where I want to be. Here's what I can bring to you. The other is, employer's market or not, there are still some ways to negotiate that salary a little bit. So even though they start out by saying it may not be right, they may redo the job for you. They may find a job at a different level. They may have some flexibility there. third thing that I'd recommend is if they really can't meet your salary requirements and the salary is the most important thing, or one of the most important things, propose the job as either a contract so that you can show how you work, or show them as a fractional role, right? Part-time. Let me come in and do this as your fractional person, which also gives you the ability to do something else for somebody else at the same time. But again, you are that employee, you're demonstrating your value, and some of those are going to turn full-time. But we're also finding more companies are making use of those fractional roles at those higher levels. So another option for you. Okay, next question. I can't see hands right now, so anybody else have a question about this issue? So that was the overqualified. What about underqualified? Because we still have over 40 people on this call, which is fantastic.
What does underqualified mean? I think, and I'm not saying it to be glib, but a lot of companies put down job specs that are unrealistic or based on past assumptions. Because I mentor college students and they can't get a position because they don't have any experience, which the company thinks they need. But 3 years experience at one place is not the same as 3 years at another. And I think that's the mindset in general. Job specs are written based on the way they were written 5, 10, 15 years ago in some cases. And there's no thinking about it. And there's no thinking about what do you need? Forget about the past. And I think that's a mindset change that has to change. Now, Linda, you're in that space more than me. How do we get companies to change that mindset that first position isn't entry level per se, but experience from other things matters?
And I think we keep pushing the envelope. We keep talking about it, and we get people who don't have exactly the right experience level to talk about it too. You talk about what you bring and what you learn, how you've learned something similar in another role, how what you did someplace else, not having that one piece, to some extent, turn it around as an advantage. Okay? Especially if you're talking about making a shift from industry to industry or from career field to career field. You've got the expertise in X. You're going to learn Y from them. So you're coming in without those preconceived notions about how it should work. That's your advantage, is you're coming in with all of the stuff they need without saying, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, right? It's got to work this way or no way. You're going to learn, you're going to bring, you're going to grow with them. And that's a great way of doing it. It's also a great way of then talking about moving into a 90-day plan to learn the organization and what kinds of questions you would ask and who you'd like to meet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Linda, if I may, I have a point about being the overqualified, the mature employer, that whole concept of you're too expensive for us. And this is one of my favorite stories. I know some of you have heard this already, and I apologize for repeating myself. But when Captain Sully landed his plane on the Hudson River, I guarantee you there wasn't a person on that plane who was praying that their pilot was 30 years old. They may have. It's possible, right? But I'm not saying a 30-year-old couldn't have done what he did, but it would have been impossible. It is impossible for a 30-year-old to have the hours in a cockpit that this, oh, by the way, glider pilot had. He was the right person at the right time in the right set of circumstances to be in that seat in the cockpit. I'm not saying that you're Captain Sully, but I am saying this, and goes back to my references from strength to strength. If you're a mature worker, you've collected experiences and knowledge that somebody else could benefit from. If you look at yourself as a mentor as opposed to as an employee, and I see Ken shaking his head, right? Your attitude and your mentality changes, and everything about you is different. And I think it's a little less scary, for lack of a better word, to a hiring manager. I don't know. Food for thought.
So one of the things with the overqualified is it's often a trigger for too expensive, wants my job, it's going to tell me what to do, won't be happy, won't be satisfied, won't leave, or will leave too soon. It's also the idea of the salary that's lower than what you're looking for. All of that's built into the same thing if I'm looking at it from the HR and the hiring manager perspective. Your goal is to turn it around on them. What can you bring? What do you want? What's worth paying for? But more importantly, what can you do for them? Why is this the right role for you as well as for them? The right role right now. Okay? What can you bring to them and why should they bring you in? Okay. We brought you back up, Martin. What can we do for you?
Yeah, well, in line with the conversation topic right now, and I've been in conversations with an executive at a local organization that's looking for business transformation, and the role itself was going to be a lateral move more for business transformation. And with my experience, it seemed like it would be a good fit. In my conversation, I found that the environment was actually ripe for organizational transformation from the ground up. There's been institutional resistance across the board. And what dawned on me based on this, and I have another follow-up interview with an executive in the organization, that the role itself is actually not positioned right for that level of organizational change that's needed. And I'm thinking about recommending a director level that has the authority and approval from a top-down perspective to really engage the business as a business partner. So wanted to get your insights on steps to take to make that recommendation for this particular role. And what I would like to do is not only make that recommendation, tell them why the other position that's currently open is not positioned the best, and then give some guidance as some foundational frameworks that would be used to actually support the organizational change that's needed. So I know it's a lot, but wanted to get your insights.
No, that's a good idea because it's that whole idea of how do you position your experience. Ken or Joey?
Go ahead, Joey.
You're shaking your head no?
You go first, Ken.
He's on mute.
No, I think a lot of it is when you're doing research on a company and looking at some of the things that they've done, that's going to help a lot too. And I think coming into a situation where you're bringing your insights and you can think in a different way, it helps more than anything else. I mean, companies are always going through changes, and sometimes they need another set of eyes and ears. And you can be that. So it's really how do you portray yourself? But it's getting past the stuff that's online and doing the research, and maybe asking other people within the company on LinkedIn or even asking the question. I say this a lot. Asking a question like that is an open-ended question on a post. And Brenda Mello talks about I'm asking for a friend. Well, you're asking for a friend. This
Right.
question there, and you can get some advice that way, in a better way than any of us can too, because you've got different viewpoints.
Mhm.
No, that's one of the benefits of the AI tools out there, especially the research directed AI tools, that you could do a lot of instant pulling
Sure.
of information across the board. And I've been able to do that. So it's an interesting opportunity. And I know that the executive I spoke with had a few different roles because he's trying to figure out exactly which people to hire to fix or enhance the business in a way that supports what he needs to do. So it's a fluid situation. I think that providing that level of guidance, there might be that little extra cherry on top that maybe he hadn't thought about. I'm sure he did, but within the organization. And keep in mind, I applied almost 2.5 months ago and just recently heard back. So there's organizations out there that they're just inundated, and the HR departments take a lot of time to get through everything. So, I'd say be patient, but we'll see. I'll give you an update next week.
Yes, please. Joey.
Act as if you have the job already. Have that mindset that you're the knight in shining armor. And again, like I said, you will change your attitude and your persona, and everything about you changes. Just act as if you've got the job, whether you have the requirements or not. If it's what you want, go frigging get it. And don't let anybody stop you. Just go after it. And if it doesn't work, guess what? You didn't have it to begin with, so you haven't lost anything. Next, right? Just go. There's another job out there. I know, and I apologize. I get yelled at, Joey, you're too direct. Look, okay, sit at home. Let me know how that works out for you. They're not calling you. It's not 1950. It's not 1950. They're not calling you. You've got to sell yourself. You've got to be positive and upbeat. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
So,
the thing,
go ahead.
and Linda, I know we're at that time, but the last
okay.
bullet point here is that all the research I'm doing, putting together my strategy, if it doesn't work for this organization, I have it ready to go for the next one. So, and I have a lot of strategies now that I'm going to take into my next role that's going to make me a powerful influencer within the organization, pardon that word. But for anybody doing that research, it's not for not. Use it for any future endeavor that you're working on.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things. You don't tell them that their job description is wrong. It's, have you thought about doing it this way? I've been able to do it this way in another organization, and it really worked well. And here's how I could apply that here. Okay. It's you teaching them along the way as part of that interview process. Not, oh, you've done it wrong, right? Why are you doing it at this lower level? It's here's the better way to do this and how we can bring it in. And that's your research. That's also showing you as that change manager, because you're providing the influence, and it's not always a bad term, but you're providing the influence to them by showing them what you can do for them and why it's important and how best to do it. Okay, thank you. All right. I think you're next. Here we go, Elena.
Hi, everyone. My background is basically as an academic advisor in higher education, and maybe this is common sense, but is it a waste of time to apply for a position when they have items in their preferred section and you can't fulfill it? And an example is, which I didn't apply to the job because it said preferred and then had Spanish and English, and I do not speak Spanish. So then, but yet I align with the job description basically and what they're looking for. So that was my question. Should I still apply or not? Don't waste my time.
Go, do it.
Oh.
That,
I mean, to be honest, there's so many tools out there that can help you with the Spanish, whether it's Google Translate or ChatGPT, or ChatGPT or anything else. I mean, depending on why it's preferred or not, you have other options. It's not, and I think that may be something to do with it. But if you have every other skill, why not? Because you have no idea what the competition is like.
Yep. So I would say, go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, or if something opens up that doesn't require that, but yet.
Yeah, but then you're putting your name in there for something else that may come up, or they may realize after a while they don't need something that they're saying they need.
So what I would also do though in your skills section is talk about Google Translate as one of your skills.
Yeah.
Okay. Because without saying it specifically, you've got it in there as a way of saying that you can handle those kinds of conversations. Okay. And it's gotten really good.
It has.
I've used Google Translate, so yes, it works.
Okay, so what I might do again in one of your bullet points is then talk about using Google Translate to do this.
Or if it's a document that's in Spanish, put it into ChatGPT and it'll be converted for you right away. Now you don't have to tell them that so much, but it's just this thing to think about.
Right. Okay, so it does work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Apply. Lydia.
Yeah, one follow-up, and maybe I just need some encouragement here, but through my contacts, I had yesterday a second interview at a major diversified healthcare company that I worked at, and just got the call this morning saying from the recruiter, and I used to work for the person who interviewed me, her boss, 20 some years ago. So that's how I got plucked. And basically, I didn't get it, but that the senior director highly, thought that there would be a good fit in some other parts of the company. So they sent me a link for other roles, nothing open yet. So again, I'm going to keep doing everything else that I'm doing. I'm not getting down about this. I mean, and thrilled to get a live phone call. But I guess I don't know what else to say. You know, you get your hopes up and you got to move on. You know,
You do.
can't.
You just don't know behind the scenes what's going on.
Right.
Oh, I think here's my point. They said we spoke, it was on the schedule for 30 minutes. We went for 50. Didn't even seem like an interview. Completely. That's why I had that feeling like, wow, I was getting the call to say I was being advanced. And there were 178 candidates for this one role, for senior manager role in content strategy, internal and external. And she said, this is super competitive. And, you know, I walked away feeling like, okay, I don't know what else you want, because I almost don't see how I'm not a fit. You know, last 7 years in cybersecurity, executive communications, but, you know, maybe I didn't do the editorial element as much in the last recent past. But that's what I mean. I feel like it's such, I feel like we have to match at 100% or 95%. The employers are getting their selection. I mean, I'm sure I was at 90%. And the others were, again, I can't spend my time, but yeah, I'm a little frustrated.
I understand. And you're right. Some companies are looking for unicorns. Some companies keep changing their requirements as they move forward. And I think sometimes they're looking for 110% of what they're looking for. Okay, so that 90% match is fantastic. You can't control that. What you can do is talk about what that job is looking for, regardless of when you had that experience. So you may not have done that editorial work recently, but if you've done it in the past, you know, I've done the editorial work and here's what I've done and here's what the result was. Don't say when, okay, but those kinds of things.
I would also do a thank you for the opportunity to apply for the position. Very few people send a thank you for being rejected. And that's I mean, I would definitely do that. And just another reminder, thank you for the opportunity, this and this and this, just refresh their memory, because that's another thing very few people do.
Exactly. Fewer than 5% will do that.
Justin, I had literally just sent them the thank you. I took a little time from yesterday, so I'll send them another note.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I enjoyed the conversation. Here's, you know, why I love the kinds of things that you're doing. I'm going to keep in touch for future opportunities. Okay. That kind of thing.
Just change the subject line so it gets their attention. It's a little thing. You want to make sure that, you know, again, these are little things. Like I said, you never know.
But here are some other things that are going to help you stand out for those future opportunities. It's not just telling them that thank you and saying, gee, I enjoyed this, right? Here's why, and here's the things that I can bring, why you're important. Again, short email. Follow the company on LinkedIn. Put on their about section, if they've got a click saying, you know, interested in future opportunities, click there. Comment on posts from their people. Comment on posts from the company. Those keep you in the front of their mind. Okay, and do it. And when you say you're going to follow up, even if you're not seeing a future opportunity, at least every 4 to 6 weeks, reach back out to the company with something. Okay, even if it's gee, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
On that note, what is your position if you had a couple touch points with the recruiter at a major company, and that was 6 months ago, and the company is so massive, pharmaceutical company. I mean, it's crazy. You know, they're always going to have positions.
Yeah.
So is it just to follow up with that recruiter independently of seeing an opening? Is that frowned upon or not? Or
what do you have to lose?
Okay.
Even if the follow-up is a connection request on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. And that's another way to stay in touch. Yeah, like I said, the more things you try, the better.
By the way, LinkedIn connection requests for people that you're speaking with, whether you've already spoken with them or it's been in the past, I enjoyed our conversation, or I'm looking forward to our conversation, that's good enough. Okay, it's another way for that connection to stay in mind, and then comment on the post, comment on the company post. Do whatever you can to stay top of mind.
Great ideas. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Anyone else? It's a big topic. Okay. Okay. And we know that. And we know that being underqualified, overqualified is tough. It's hard to find that Goldilocks zone for yourself or for the company, right? Not too strong, not too heavy, not too light, whatever is just right, but you can find it and you will find it. And sometimes it means working with the company to show why not enough experience is just the right experience, or why too much experience is just the right experience. What other things you can bring to support their team, okay, and to do the work that you need to do. Other questions about this? Ken, thanks for suggesting the topic.
Oh, okay, sure. I mean, I speak from experience.
I know, I do too. We've both done this kind of doing this work, and it's an interesting environment out there. But this is one of the things you can control, is what kinds of things you apply for, who you network with, how you try and make use of that network, and how you comment. So please be visible on LinkedIn. It's really much more important than you ever think it is, and reach out for those comments. Anything else we can do for you all today? Okay. By the way, I actually wrote a post about finding that Goldilocks zone. Okay. What do you do if you got too much or not enough, or how do you talk about it on LinkedIn today? You want to get comments, something that you learned today, something that you picked up, something that you're thinking about, asking another question, add it to the post. It helps increase your visibility and helps to make you that individual we really want to see as well. It helps to give you that credibility and broaden your network as well. And so it's not a bad thing. Besides, learning things here, talking about them, sharing them helps share that information for other people who might be in the same boat too. So thinking about it, okay. Now, as a reminder, next week, we're doing a roundtable discussion. We know the job search is hard. We know that there are lots of tools out there. David Pryor posted one about how to find information about the companies, keeping track of what kinds of software systems or ATS systems people are using. We know that people are tracking their contacts. We need to be able to do that. We need to download our contacts from LinkedIn, need to be able to contact them. But next week is really going to be talking about how you are tracking who your contacts are, who you want to talk with, where you're following up and how you're following up, who you've been speaking with, either in terms of networking or the jobs, which jobs you've applied for. So and how do you take the notes so that you can remember what to do and when? It's more than a to-do list, it's a follow-up list. So next week, we're going to be talking about all of that. So if you have a tool that you use that you're willing to share and talk about, bring it. You can share your screen, talk about it, we'll ask you questions. If you have questions about a tool that somebody else wants to use, okay, I know that she's not on the call any longer, but Pam Lefkowitz wanted to know, how do you track your contacts? Okay, what kind of a CRM do you use? And you don't need anything formal. But next week is all about sharing what kinds of tools we have and questioning what tools others have, so that we can make sure that we're sharing best practices among each other and giving each other ideas. And then the following week, okay, which is the Wednesday of Thanksgiving week, we are meeting. And for those of you who can join us, we're going to be talking about how gratitude affects your attitude. We're going to be talking about how to turn some of those little wins into other things. We're going to be giving you a chance to express that gratitude. And then we're also going to be doing some small group networking so that we can support one another in that area. Okay. So I saw somebody mention something in the chat about endorsements. We're going to talk about endorsements in those small groups, as well as doing some of that networking. How can we support one another? In fact, if you're in our private group, there was a post from Sherry Hedenberg, I think, asking people to endorse her for certain skills. Go ahead and do that as well. Tell people the top 10 things you want to endorse them for, you want to be endorsed for, and then ask what you can endorse other people for. It's another way of making sure that your skills get seen and taking advantage of this built-in network that you have here. So I'm going to remind you as I turn off the recording